Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Elena, and in this video, I'm doing my first haul of 2023, my first book haul. And so if you're familiar with my channel, I primarily do book reviews. I started my channel last year and I did 4 to 5 hauls last year. And each one of those hauls was substantial. I mean, ridiculous. I said this year I was going to purchase less books. I didn't say I was going to stop purchasing books. I said I was going to purchase way less books than I did last year, and I have done that. This is my first haul of the year. I only plan to do one more after that, and it'll be a wrap up of everything that I purchased by the end of the year. So the latter half of the year. There's a good amount of books here. Don't get me wrong. However, I have accumulated in 6 months what I would have accumulated in one of my 4 to 5 hauls. I think it's 5 hauls last year, right? So I purchased what I'm about to show you 5 times over last year. And so you can tell I have significantly reduced the amount of books that I've purchased. And there, again, like I said, I already know some books I want to purchase for the second half of the year. A couple of them aren't even published yet, but yeah, I consider this a win. I'm just going to start first with contemporary releases or contemporary fiction, and there's a couple of nonfiction in here. And then I'm going to go to my classics. So I have way more contemporary reads than classics, but I still have some really good classics in here. So let's just start at the top, and other than that, this is in no particular order. So Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. I had to process for a minute. Usually I don't have issues processing Italian last names, but my brain blanked. All right. Hello Beautiful. This book has been compared to Little Women. Actually was inspired by Little Women. I've never read Little Women. I know, I've never read Little Women, but I do like a good family saga. And so this just sounds like it's right up my alley. And of course, they sucked me in with a good cover. That's usually how it happens with contemporary reads. I get sucked in by the good cover. But I got the paperback edition shipped from Blackwell because only the hardback is available in the United States. And I have very small hands. I find my hands have not grown in size since I was in high school. I have small hands. So I wait for paperbacks if I can get them because they're just easier for me to physically manage. I also take my books around with me to work or whatever, so they're always a little less heavy, and you can fit more paperbacks on a shelf than you can hardbacks. So there's my logic. But Hello Beautiful, I like a good family saga. I've never read Little Women, so I don't know what happens in Little Women, so I cannot even predict the end. I've heard people say that if you know what happens in Little Women, you can predict what happens to one of the characters. I have no idea. I'm not saying that I won't ever read it, just no idea. Second installment of the Neapolitan Quartet by Elena Ferrante, The Story of a New Name. I went on and purchased it because I finished My Brilliant Friend and realized I will read the whole series now. I will read whatever Elena Ferrante has available in English. Okay? That book was so good. So yes, if I can squeeze this in this year, I will try to, but no promises. I flew through My Brilliant Friend. It would not take me very long to get through this at all. Oh, let's do both of these together. Tish Delaney, Irish author. This was her first novel, Before My Actual Heart Breaks, and The Saint of Lost Things. I am always intrigued by Irish authors setting novels during the time where that was weirdly worded. I am always drawn to, thanks to Anna Burns, novels that take place during the Troubles. And so Tish Delaney sets her novels during this time, in pivotal time in Irish history. So also this cover, immaculate. So yes, I feel like I'm going to get on with Tish Delaney. I heard, okay, so when I posted conversations with friends, yes, Sally Rooney is an Irish author. Overwhelmingly, people agree with me. They're like, you have the guts to say the thing. I was like, people called me brave. Are you kidding? That is not brave. I am not a soldier. I'm just willing to put my opinion out there that some people would disagree with, whatever. A couple of comments said that I didn't know what I was talking about. Your opinion? Sure, it's a free platform, freedom of speech. Somebody said that, accused me of not understanding Irish authors. You're loud and you are wrong. And so thus I retorted to this comment and said, no, I'm paraphrasing. I read many UK authors. I have read Irish authors before. I do not get on with Sally Rooney. I have read books in dialect. What does that have to do with me not understanding Sally Rooney? I understood Sally Rooney. I just didn't like it. And Sally Rooney is not writing in dialect. I can read Scottish Highland dialect and understand it. I do not get on with Sally Rooney. It has nothing to do with me getting on with Irish authors as a whole. Just like there are American authors I do not get on with. Why are people so like, when you dislike something, why do people say like they have to like explain to you why you don't like it? Or no, you're wrong, so this is why you should like it. I said what I said. I don't like it. I'm done. That really irritated me. I don't get irritated by comments often, but like, no, I get on with other Irish authors. There are plenty of Iris Murdoch, okay? I can read Scottish Highland dialect and Irish dialect, Anna Burns. There are other amazing Irish authors. I just don't get on with that one. Just like there are American authors I don't get on with. I'm done. All right. Lapvano, Tessa Moshfegh, rather. Okay. I had planned to get this book for a while. I decided to wait until it was released in paperback in the United States, and I was going to get it last year and decided to wait. And so I actually had no intention of purchasing this book so early, but I decided to, also the cover. If you didn't know, I'm a knitter, and I just, anything sheep or llama or alpaca, you don't really knit with llama. Sorry, sheep and alpaca motifed. I can't resist. So this cover is immaculate in my opinion. And also this sheep's feet are very discreetly bound. Important. But I was going to lunch with a friend during our lunch break at work. And there is a local bookstore downtown. And so and there's a cafe in it. And so when I walked in, they had one last copy of this paperback, front and center at the entrance, and I snagged it. And when I snagged it, the young lady at the register was like, somebody else just bought this book and you got the last one. They're going to have to order more. I said, that's why I was like, you know what? I'd rather give the money to my local independent bookshop. So let me just go ahead and snag it now. It's on my TBR. Lapvana. I don't think this book needs an introduction. We'll see how I get on with this. I thought that my year of rest and relaxation, I felt like my year of rest and relaxation was okay. I'm keeping it on my shelves. I might even revisit it at one point, but I think I might get on with this weird piece of fiction later. I am 10 minutes in almost. I'm 9 minutes in. I need to speed up the rest of this. I'm going to stop doing synopses for the most part. My Good Intentions by Qasim Ali. This is a debut. This is not really a contemporary romance. Yes, it is a relationship, discussing a relationship between one is the female Yasmina character is of African descent. I think he's Indian. And so just it's already assumed that this is not going to end well for this couple because of cultural differences. Cultural differences. And he talks about the dynamics of when you have a blended relationship and the dynamics of that. And so that's why I picked this up. That is a topic that I'm always interested in, about the perceptions of mixed couples and how it can be quite difficult for them. I admire couples who, especially if you look at couples from like the early 1900s and mid 1900s and during certain periods of history, who were like, yeah, I'm going to date who I want to date race-wise, and I don't care what you think. Props. That's not easy. And in some cases, depending on the culture, this day and age, not easy. Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. This was another one. I bought this when I bought Lapvana. I walked into the bookstore, one left. I've been looking at this book on and off for a while. And then there was a review I came across, and her review convinced me to read this, and we'll see how I get on with this. I do plan to read Dolly Alderton's nonfiction as well. She has another novel coming out at the end of this year. So we're going to see how I get on with this. I might try to squeeze this in the second half of the year. Millennial fiction. So she's going to go in my millennial fiction category. Got two contemporary romances. I don't know why I had to roll the R's. Romance. Let's see. There are some others in here, but these are not stacked up in any order. Christina Lauren, a friend duo. Christina Lauren, that's where the name comes from. One's lady's name is Christina. The other's name is Lauren. Groundbreaking. Love in Other Words and The Honeymooners. Again, you know, I am continuing to read contemporary romance because it's a bit out of my comfort zone, but I have found a few that I like, and so I figured I'd try this duo. Christina Lauren has other novels out that are rom-coms and contemporary romances, but the others didn't appeal to me. So we're going to try these two. Also, I mean, this cover is like an introvert's dream in a nutshell. I'm going to be honest. That's why I was drawn to this book in the first place. And yeah, so we'll see. I've heard mixed things about the Honeymooners. I mean, every now and then you just need to read something that is quick to read and fun. Yeah? Okay. Ooh. Let's do these two books together because they're both nonfiction. So we have, and I'm already halfway through this book as the recording of this video. I've annotated the mess out of it. Blueberries by Elena Savage. This book is one of those memoirs, essays in understanding. People who like it. People who don't like it, don't like it. I'm middle of the road thus far. So this is a memoir, obviously, but her memoir is compiled, you've got my annotation tabs falling out, as a series of essays, and the essays, some of them, one of them's written as a poem, one of them's written as a column, like it's got commentary, and then the actual, some stories put in. So she's playing around with form a lot here. So thus far, I'm halfway through. Some of the essays I don't really care for at all. Others I'm like, okay. Some of them, okay, so this is going to be an interesting book to review. If I were to have to rate this now, I would give it a 3 because overall I find, how can I say this? I find it annoying at times because she complains a lot and she rags on men a lot. And I'm like, I'm like, do you even like men? She tells you where she is. She says that she is a socialist. Okay, cool. I will agree to disagree. But here's the thing. This is where this book is tricky, and this is why I'm sitting at a 3 right now. I disagree on a lot of things that she says, her points of view, but it's how you say it. If you write it well, kudos to you, girl. That's why I'm reading this. I'm reading this for good writing, and I like to read people who disagree with me or have different opinions on things, because there are things in this book she says that I'm like, girl, yes, absolutely, I agree with you. Other things I disagree with, or I agree with her on some things, but we would probably disagree on the solution. So I find that when I'm reading this book, I feel like I'm having a conversation with the author. And if she were sitting in front of me, I think we would have interesting conversations about certain things that she talks about in here. So, and it's well written. She's a good writer. So I can't knock you for that. But there are also elements of this book, just the way that she's writing. I'm like, she comes across as kind of sad to me. I don't know. There are times I'm annoyed, but there are other times I'm like, girl, yes, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay. Friendaholic by Elizabeth Day. Confessions of a Friendship Addict. I think as we get older, you realize that the way that you think about your friendships and the relationships in your life change, which is why I picked this up, because there is an excerpt that I heard on YouTube that read out loud from this book, and I was like, she nailed it. Because we read a lot about romantic relationships, but friendships are often overlooked, especially I think in maybe memoirs about in friendship breakups, or I think especially as you get older and life changes and the friends that you had when you were teenagers, you can't relate to them anymore because you have changed and they have changed. And so just exploring friendship, an ode to friendship, as I am currently in a stage of life where I'm thinking deeply about friendship and what that means to me. So that really piqued my interest. This was a cover buy for me. Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. I also have a hard time saying no to a New York novel. This is taking place in bougie New York, Pineapple Street. I believe this is a bougie place, a bougie neighborhood, old money neighborhood in Brooklyn Heights. Isn't that cover fun? So fun. And some people were disappointed by this novel. Other people really kind of got it, but well, check this out. This is a debut from Jenny Jackson, but she is a editor, I believe, for a major publishing company. There is this trend of editors becoming published authors, which some people don't like. It doesn't bother me. I mean, do you? Ooh, this is a book I don't see many people talking about. This Bird Has Flown by Susanna Hoffs. Yes, that Susanna Hoffs from the rock group. Got the name that she was part of. She was part of a well-known, the Bangles. My brain blanked. You know, Walk Like an Egyptian. Yeah, from the 80s. So this is a rom-com with a little bit of a Jane Eyre twist. This Bird Has Flown. That is a Jane Eyre reference in and of itself. And so it's a rom-com, and the main character, she's a musician, but her career is kind of stunted. It's dying out. And so she then thus meets a intriguing stranger on a flight who is English. So there's definitely some Jane Eyre odes to this. Each chapter is either a lyric or a song title. And so other than that, I don't know much else about this book, but there's a lot of music references and influences in this book. And I just thought that this would be a contemporary romance that I'd enjoy. That cover is fun. Okay, no. I did it. I bought Happy Place by Emily Henry. I've come to appreciate Emily Henry a little bit more after I finished People We Meet on Vacation and enjoyed it. So I figured that I would also I already have her other 3 novels. Let's just get Happy Place. Though I have seen mixed reviews on this one. Some people say this is not her best, but when I just want to read something that's easy and just fun and I can zone out, this is going to fit the bill. But that, again, like I said, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to analyze it, because I will. I've already read this one, The Flat Cheer by Beth O'Leary. I enjoyed this one. I did. I liked it. Review coming soon. Another contemporary romance. I know. I'm diversifying my reading palette. Last novel in the contemporary novels section. My girl, the one and only Mayoko Kawakami, Heaven. I've heard this book is brutal, about bullying, and it's brutal. Bullying among teenagers. Aren't the school years rough? Kids can be brutal. Oh, man. Okay, if you've never been bullied in middle school, high school, elementary school, consider yourself lucky. All right. We've all been bullied, right? We've all been bullied in middle school, high school, elementary school. I got picked on because I was incredibly skinny. Like that was the main thing I got picked on. I got picked on for my weight. People would call me all types of nasty names and accuse me of having issues with food I've never had. Like, it made me self-conscious about my weight for a long time. I wanted to be bigger, but I was very thin. Like, I hated going clothes shopping because I just couldn't fit into my clothes, especially pants, bottoms. Everything was just ultra baggy on me and nothing would fit. And then especially when you're in that awkward, puberty phase, when you're just gangly and awkward anyway. Yeah, that was the thing I got picked on for. I got picked on for my weight. Not fun. But I will say, people didn't pick on me for long. Like, people would try it, but then I would always put them in their place because my mouth was reckless. My mouth is still reckless. But that doesn't mean that people didn't try it and they didn't say some things. But that was the past. People grow up. Some of those people I know now and we're cool. But yeah, kids can be brutal. Anyway, Heaven. Miyako Kawakami. You know she my girl, so I can't wait to read this. It's a slim volume, but I can't wait to read it. All the Lovers in the Night has finally been released in the United States in paperback. I will be purchasing that book this summer. Just not right now, but I'm purchasing it this summer because, again, anything that Miyako Kawakami has released in paperback in English, I'm snapping it up. Let's get on to the classics. I've got some good ones. Short stories, Pushkin Press, Tolstoy, Essential Stories. One of the first books I purchased in 2020, actually. I purchased it at my favorite bookstore in Georgetown, right outside Washington, D.C. And so every time I'm there, what is it called? Bridge Street Books. If you're ever in the D.C. area, Georgetown area, go to Bridge Street Books. Whenever I'm there, I buy something. Because he has Pushkin Press. They can be a little bit harder to find, and when you find them online, they can be pricey. So I couldn't say no. Tolstoy short stories. While I'm on Russian short stories, I'm going to go ahead on and do, this is not a short story, but it's a slim volume, another Pushkin Press. An Evening with Claire. By Gazdanov. I have never heard of this. I saw it and I decided to pick it up. And it is basically, it's a short, slim volume, little more than 200 pages. You have two friends who were romantic interests who meet up one evening in Paris after 10 years and they reminisce. And that just sounds like my cup of tea. Had to get it. And this An Evening with Claire. Doesn't that not sound good? I've got French classics. Francois Sagan. A Certain Smile. This cover, so good. And Bonjour. I'm not even gonna. My French is horrible. Could be worse, could be better. But also, we're just gonna. You can read it here. I need to practice how to say that because one day I'm going to have to review this book and I want to make sure I get the pronunciation right. Oh, man. So, I've heard that Sagan is very French, which, duh. That's why I like to read classics from other cultures. They're very that country for the most part. And is this cover also very French? She got her stripes on. She got her flats on. She's got the cute little... No one does fashion like the French. We could learn the same thing or two. They're my fashion inspo. Another one of the first books that I purchased this year, again at Bridge Street Books. Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus. I wanted The Stranger first, but he didn't have that one in stock at Bridge Street, so I had this one because this was also on my list. So I was like, why not? I'm here. Let's just support the independent bookstore. Get the book. I'm trying to keep it moving. I'm reading this one in July, so by the time this video goes live, I would have already started this. Italo Calvino, If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler. This will be my first Calvino, so I'm excited about that. This whole collection by Mariner Classics of Calvino's works, eye-catching. Because they're so understated. All right. I'm getting hungry. Jacob's Room by Virginia Woolf for the Vintage Classics Woolf collection. There was originally, when this collection was released, there were 7 in the collection. And last year they released Jacob's Room with this similar art. So I had to get it to complete the collection. And I will probably be reading this one next year as my Woolf for the year. A Fairly Honourable Defeat by Iris Murdoch. This was a book that for some reason was hard to track down. I had to get it from Waterstones. It was sold out everywhere else, and I had serious FOMO, like I was about to miss out on it. So I ordered it from Waterstones. And I need to complete the rest of the collection. There are 2 left, but I do like my girl Iris. On to the last 2. Sorry, so I just got a text by my girl Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space. She just let me know that she started reading The Idiot by Ella Bottom, and she says she's loving it. It's a good book. All right. Ooh, The Gilbert Way by Proust. I purchased this. This was actually the second book that I purchased of the year, thinking that I was going to get to it this year. No, I'm going to say this one for next year. It is the 3rd volume of In Search of Lost Time. After I finished with In a Budding Grove, I was like, I need to let Proust marinate. So yes, I'm just going to do one Proust a year, but The Gilbert Way will be next year. Last but not least, we have Penguin. This book is heavy. Penguin Classics, King James. This book is heavy. Bible. I do not own a King James Bible. I've already started flagging it. I don't have a King James Bible. I've always been intimidated by King James. It's like reading Shakespeare, and it takes time. But there are passages in the King James that are just no other translation does them justice like the King James if you're reading them in English. So, because I can't read Greek and I can't read Hebrew. So this was actually the very, very first book that I read or purchase of the year. I've read the Bible, I think maybe 2 to 3 times over, but in chunks, but I have read it cover to cover 2 to 3 times over. So I wanted to get a King James version. I have other translations. I am currently spending my time reading the Psalms, 1 to 2 Psalms at a time daily, and just using over 1 to 2 Psalms at a time. And then I will just finish all 150 when I finish them. There is something about the Psalms and the Proverbs, I will say, but especially the Psalms, I will say, no, this is heavy. Even if you're not a Christian, or you've never read the Bible at all, or there are people who do read the Bible for academic reasons or historical reasons, the Psalms are so human. Whether you consider yourself a Christian or not, the Psalms are just very human. There is something in there for everybody, and it's just, if people were to say, I want to read the Bible for whatever reason, for either religious or faith. I like to use the word faith. For faith reasons, or just for literature reasons or historical reasons, start with the Psalms. Gorgeous passages. It is poetry. And there are things in the Psalms you're like, that's in the Bible? Oh, interesting. So I'm currently making my way through the Psalms. And I have read the Psalms many times over, but in other translations. And there's something about reading them in the King James translation that is just, there's stuff clicking before that's never clicked before. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, and I had to get it because it was in a Penguin Classic edition, right? I just liked the cover. And there's an interesting forward introduction by a biblical scholar. I skimmed it. It was interesting. But yeah, there's King James versions all over the place. But I wanted to get the Penguin version because, I don't know, I like the black spine. Okay, that is it. Have you read any of the books that I've hauled? For those of you who are familiar with my hauls from last year, you know that this is a huge scaling back for me. I'm proud of myself. And I can tell you off the top of my head, the books that I plan to purchase this moving forward: Meiko Kawakami's All the Lovers in the Night, Kaze Hikaru, the manga the one and only manga at this time I'm currently reading and invested in since I've been 15 years old. Volume 31 is released this August 1st. I can't wait. I am a stan for Kaze Hikaru. So good. If you like a good samurai story. Historical fiction. So good. Dolly Alderton, Elodie Harper. There are a few others, but those are the ones that I think are key for me. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm hungry. It is lunchtime. It is hot. And I want to eat. So do any of these books look intriguing to you? Have you read them? Do you plan to read them? Are some of these books completely new to you? Please let me know. What is your favorite book that you have purchased this far this year? Or are you like me? Are you trying to scale back on what you're purchasing? Or are you just like, no, go big or go home? Who cares? I could be buying other things. Okay, cool. I feel it. Do you? I feel that because the temptation is out there. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Please feel free to leave me a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also feel free to follow me on Instagram, where I get up to more book shenanigans and all my book content goes live first, including funny memes in the stories that are sometimes have nothing to do with books, but because they're funny, or I think they're funny. I will see you in the next one.